Good evening and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. It is Monday night all over again, and we are so glad that you decided to join us tonight. Tonight we have special guest and award-winning author, Naleighna Kai. Thank you very much for being on the show with us this evening. Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation is brought to you by Iris Diamonds LLC and by Milton McCulloch, author of Love and Emancipation, L.D. Robinson, owner and operator of Ladero Press, a Dante production, who is our newest sponsor. Thank you very much. And the Fresh Book Festival, which is January 6, 7, 8, 2022. It is coming up, believe it or not. It is November already. If you have any questions for Ms. Kai, please leave them in the chat room and we will get back to them at the end of the conversation. I must tell you, this conversation is being recorded. It will be uploaded to Facebook, and then it'll go to YouTube when we're done. So good evening, Ms. Kai. Take a moment and introduce yourself to our listening audience. You're on mute.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
That works, right. Yeah, thank you.
I am Naleighna Kai. I'm a USA Today and Essence Magazine international best-selling author of 30 books. I am a developmental editor, a book coach, and the book whisperer, the person that people come to when they're thinking about writing and publishing a book, and I will actually help them to make it a reality. I believe everyone has a story to tell, and I'm one of the people who can help them to tell it well.
So you're not considered a ghostwriter, or you are?
I do that, but that's on the back end. Literary agent, book coach, consultant, that takes a front seat. When people come to me for ghostwriting, I actually encourage them to at least put some words on the paper, record their story, because then it becomes developmental editing and not necessarily ghostwriting. Ghostwriting is extremely expensive, whereas development.
Because you actually have to write the story, right? And that is,
well, they still have to tell me. I can't pull it out of thin air. They still are more involved than they probably would like to be.
Right, exactly.
But it still works. So might as well save the money that you're going to need down the back end for marketing and promotion, and just get enough words down on paper so it becomes developmental editing instead of ghostwriting.
So tell me, you have, as you said, received the USA Today and Essence National Best-Selling Award. One of AALBC's, Troy Johnson is one of my friends, 100 top authors, a member of CVS Hall of Fame, Mercedes-Benz Mentor Award nominee, and the E. Lynn Harris, God rest his soul, author of Distinction Award. Tell me what that feels like.
You know, I love the award. There's some awards you work for, and then there's some awards that are given. And a lot of these awards were happened just in the course of being, just in the course of putting the books out there and building a fan base and building a library of books that, you know, readers will consider unique and that they'll read more than once. I strive to be the author that they keep those books. They don't end up on the slush pile or in the circular file. I want them to read it again and again. I have a pile of books downstairs. They're the ones that I keep, my spiritual books and the autograph books. They're in one bin. They will never go anywhere. But the rest of them, I look at a book and I'm just like, if I'm not going to read it again, it goes.
Oh, really? And so, yeah, you strive to be someone that you keep on the bookshelf and go back to in 2 years and go read it again, go back to in 2 years, I'll read it again. It's nothing like how you read a book and find something different every time.
Yes.
Right? Find something different every time. So share with the audience, please, your journey to becoming a writer, author. Now, I know for me, I've been writing since I was maybe 7 or 8 in a closet in a house where there were too many people. So tell us where you started.
See, what had happened was, don't you love stories that
start like that? It's great. Yeah.
I actually did not aspire to be a writer. I came into it like 21 years ago. I'm 54 years old. So I'm a late in life, kind of late in midlife.
A seasoned person.
Yeah, a seasoned.
Yeah.
And it started because I'm an avid reader, number one. I'm an avid reader. But I met this guy in remember when Microsoft Network had the spades and the hearts and games? I met this guy online and he was the writer. And he actually took me to a private room, and then he wrote poetry, then erotic poetry, and then he sent me about 2 paragraphs of all these wonderful, wicked things he wanted to do to me.
Okay.
And I sent him back 10 pages of techniques he needed to brush up on and things he needed to learn. And those pages that I penned to him over the internet became chapters 16 through 22 of my first book. But here's the
Oh my
thing.
goodness.
I found that I loved writing, but it was my sexual abuse counselor who encouraged me to continue writing for healing purposes. And when I started putting my pain on the page, I wrote 6 novels within a 2-year period. And I write longhand, yellow tablet, blue ink, and it just poured out of me. And some of the pages I couldn't read because the tears had blurred the ink. But that's what started my writing career.
Yeah, they say take your pain, put it on pages, and make some paper.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the nice thing about it. So tell us how you managed to write women's fiction, contemporary fiction, Christian fiction, romance, erotica, and science fiction. Come on, nobody does that. Really?
I started off in erotica, and that's where my pen name came into play because my son was young at the time. He was still in grammar school. So I chose a pen name to protect the innocent and the guilty. And he actually took my first book to school for show and tell and said, "This is my mama." So he kind of undid the work a little bit, but I had already put the name into the brand, the money into the branding and everything. So from there, I didn't know what genres were. I developed that as I went along. I started off with women's fiction, you know, where there's deep-seated issues that needed to be resolved and things to be explored. And only later, when I started challenging, I have a writing tribe, Naleighna Kai's tribe called Success. And when I started challenging them to write in genres outside of contemporary fiction and women's fiction, we started writing romance together, romantic suspense. And then I dipped my toe into the science fiction waters, wanting to write something like L.A. Banks and Octavia Butler, who is my all-time, those are my all-time favorites authors. So I wanted to write different and explore mystery, thriller, suspense. I write in almost every genre except for street lit and urban lit.
Right. And so tell me about your experience in writing an erotica. How did you broach that with your family tribe, not your literary tribe, but your family tribe?
My family was very supportive of my career from day one, you know, from getting me the computer I needed. I actually learned how to sell books from my brother, who has never read any of my books. I learned how to sell. Well, he really,
he's a salesman, right?
He was my first book signing downtown Chicago, and I didn't have a line. It was on my lunch period. I worked for a law firm during the day, and there was nobody in the store, you know, people milling about. He took my book. He went outside on the street in front of the bookstore. "This is my sister's book. It's a good book. You need to come in and find." I had a line. I was late getting back to work because I ended up having a line outside. It was the most unbelievable thing I had ever seen. And here's the interesting thing. I learned from him how to sell myself, but I learned how to sell others just that same way. And even on a Walmart tour, it became known. I was on a Walmart tour with 19 national best-selling authors, Brenda Jackson, Beverly Jenkins. It was all of these wonderful authors, right? It became known that anybody sitting next to me, if I sold out, the people sitting next to me sold out too. So it was funny that a few authors tipped in early to switch their names around in order to sit next to me, because I could sell myself and I could sell others as well and push and promote. And that is, to me, is a lost art, is that people sometimes are always thinking of themselves, but that's one of the things with Tribe. That is one of the things for being my tribe. Good content, excellent covers that are done by J.L. Woodson of Woodson Creative Studio, my son, and cross promote. That is our superpower, cross promoting each other.
That is the superpower. That is a superpower. And I say that all the time, that there's enough money out here for all of us.
Yes.
There's enough money out here for all of us. So don't be afraid to promote somebody else, because in that promotion, you get promoted.
Exactly.
You really, really do. And tell me, what is your favorite genre to write?
The hardest one for me, because I almost didn't write a particular book, and it would be paranormal. It would be speculative fiction. I am thoroughly thoroughly impressed by L.A. Banks and Octavia Butler. And I wanted to write something along those lines. That is the hardest. And the fact that the biggest compliment I have ever been paid as an author is when someone read that book and said, I love the Octavia Butler feel and vibe.
Yeah.
It is uniquely Naleighna Kai, but distinctly has that vibe. That was the biggest compliment I've ever been paid.
Right. And people, anyway, I just think that people don't understand that when someone says, you know, Donna, I think about this particular person in your writing, but exclusively yours, right? It's not a put down. It's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing, right? You know, and just the fact that you're an author, you know, people say, oh, I know a lot of authors. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, in the melanin community, you don't know a lot because there's not a lot of us, right? And so we have to stick together because, you know, we're mightier with a fist than we are with our hand open. Mm-hmm. So what made you want to write about relationship and women's concerns in almost all of your writing? There's a portion of, yes.
Well, for me, in the beginning of my writing, I wrote what I wanted to experience, what I had experienced in the sense of the pain and healing from that, and what I wanted to experience in an intimate relationship. And all of my family, kind of my family dynamics of, I was adopted by my biological mother. She gave me away at birth. She signed into the hospital as her sister and gave me away to her aunt, to her sister, my aunt. Right. And she was my mother for the first 18 months of my life until she killed the man who killed her husband. And she ended up in prison. And I landed back where my biological mother never wanted me to be. And in that, the physical abuse was exponential and compounded by the fact that my father did not respect my right to say no. And my uncle did not respect my right to say no. So by the age of 14, all of the damage had set in for everything, psychologically, physically, sexually, all of that. When I sought to heal, which was through writing, and I wanted an intimate relationship, finally, a healthy, intimate relationship. What I did was I wrote down the things that I wanted to experience in that: compassion, love, joy, respect, safety, all of these different things. And God, the creator, the universe, brought me Tony. And in bringing me Tony, the love lesson in that was that he loved me for me. Back then I wore wig, no wig,
whatever, yeah,
no wig, makeup, no makeup, all 4 cheeks and a couple of chins. I'm a plus size. He loved me for me, but I didn't love me for me. That's the lesson that I took away. So every time I'm exploring a story or issues on the page, I am reliving that love that I had with them. I am reliving the issues and the things that I've healed from, and I'm putting it on the page, and I'm using the characters to kind of work out that issue. And it's been an interesting ride. Just when I think I'm healed enough, or the healing is perpetual. It's a journey that is always something new to discover. I'll remember something and I'll need to heal from that. Something else
clicks, right? Yes. So it's probably not as expensive as long-term therapy, but did you go to therapy?
Yes, my minister was my sexual abuse therapist. She was my boss at first. And when she heard my story, she's not the conventional therapist. My therapy wasn't in an office, wasn't in a chair. It was at the original Pancake House. It was at Giordano's Pizza. She'll call me and say, I'm on my way to get you. Spirit would lead her and lead me through the kind of healing and the way I needed to heal, because I don't think I could have gone through conventional therapy. God sent me the right person for what I needed to do and accomplish. And she first was my boss, and then she was my counselor, and then she became my minister. And now she's my best friend.
So please, for all the women who are out there going through or have gone through what you have gone through, what is your what would you tell them about therapy and why they should do it?
Because as much as we'd like to be our sister's keeper, as much as you would like to tell your mother, as much as you would like to tell your sister or your cousin, you need somebody who can be distant from the issue and actually give you the advice that you need, or listen objectively and help you to see things from different perspectives. Because once you tell something to family, they keep that, they hold on to that. Just like when people are married, okay, they get mad at the husband is screwed up and they get mad at the husband. So when the wife forgives, then all of a sudden the friends don't forgive. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They're
because they
still
keep
mad.
forgetting, girl, how could you still do that?
Right. They're still, the thing about it is, this is somebody outside of the situation that is giving you, and they're there for you. Only they don't have an agenda, objective, you know, any of those things. And they are trained in understanding that they've heard enough of these stories to understand, even though your situation is unique to you, there's certain parameters or things that they can identify that help in your healing process. Go to therapy.
Yeah, I tell my friends all the time, don't ask me, because if I was in a good relationship, you know, you wouldn't be. I don't know how to do it. Ask somebody who knows how to do it or has the tools to teach you how to maneuver, right? So I really don't try to give advice on, you know, what it takes to have a good relationship. So how did you decide to put together a group of authors and travel to Dubai? The excursion you entitled A Cavalcade of Authors, and tell us how you were able to maneuver that political moat.
Well, first of all, the cavalcade has been in existence for 17 years. We've gone to the Bahamas, we've gone through to a lot of, but it's mostly based here in Chicago. And I put it together because the October is Chicago's book festival month, and the Chicago Public Library called me and asked me to do an event and that they would give me marketing and promotion support. I'm like, yes.
Yes, I'll do it.
Let's roll.
Let's do it.
So it started from there, and then it developed further. You know, it used to be, we were in connection with Borders and Walden Books and Crown Books and all of those places. And when those went out of business, we also did restaurants. I treat the cavalcade as if you're coming to Chicago, I take you to all my favorite restaurants. You're going to go to Grand Lux Cafe. You're going to go to Giordano's Pizza. You're going to go to get some Harold's Chicken. You're going to get all Tiffin East Indian Restaurant. You're going to experience as if I'm taking you on that journey, but you're doing it with your favorite authors. And it's funny because we also, at one point, Marilyn Miglin, there's Pheromone Perfume. She allowed us to do a private event at her place, and she gave everyone a bottle of perfume. It was amazing. And then when they bought more perfume, they got even more. And on that time, it was a bus trip, and they Rashonda Tate Billingsley, everybody knows her love of shoes.
Right.
She didn't even let the bus stop. We were on the same strip with Marilyn Miglin. There's Jimmy Choo's.
Right.
She put her foot on the ground. She took off running, and the readers were right behind her. It was so amazing. And we also go on a shopping trip up to it was a mall, it was an outlet mall, and I would call ahead to make sure that everybody get a good percentage off of in sales. So it was all of that, but they were shopping with the authors. And it was a unique experience where it wasn't just sitting in a room, sitting up listening. And what I did was different. I didn't want people competing for space or time. Everyone gets the same amount of time, whether you're a New York Times bestselling author or if you're a debut author. Everybody gets 5 minutes to introduce themselves, and then at the next event, 5 minutes to read, because then that way the readers get to hear from everyone and the authors get to hear from everyone as well, because they're learning too. And that's what makes it more inclusive. And that's what I really wanted. So Dubai, it's a tourist place. They want, regardless of what you hear or of any of the unsettled things happening in the world, they don't let that touch Dubai because they're not messing up that money. Let's be real.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
We're in the free zone. It's not as many restrictions in the free zone. We don't get to see the nationals, the people who actually are from Dubai. They're born, raised, all of that. We don't get to see those people. The people who are working in Dubai are people that have been brought in from other countries, and they do all of the hospitality, and they're not messing up their money too, because they make good money over there in Dubai. So it was a no-brainer. I went to Dubai a couple of years back, and my son had went to Dubai earlier that year, and we wrote a series, the Knights of the Castle series, based on my trip to Dubai. And I said, I want to take everyone with us so they can see some of the places that were written of in those books. So it wasn't necessarily political. They are kind of slow on getting contracts together, or getting back with contracts and terms. So it was a, you know, hard way to knock that out. But other than that, I'm so looking forward to it, because now between my
That's my
son and
thinking. It's one
myself,
thing to do it in Chicago. It's a whole nother story to do it across the country.
well, we've done the Bahamas. I mean, people is still across. We've done it. We've done events at the Atlantis resorts. We've done 3 of those. So it's only navigating the terms, but also too, because I've been there and my son have been there, we've compiled a list of all the great things about our separate trips and the things that were not so good. So I want to make sure it is the best experience for the people there. We're going to knock out all of the author events in the first 3 days to let the last 6 days be where people can do what they want to do on their own, and tell them where the things they may want to experience. Because if you're going to travel 13 hours, I'm not going to fill it up with so much author stuff. Every morning for buffet breakfast, you got to come eat. So we're going to have the authors read in the morning, and we're going to have one major event and a few excursions. Of course, we're going to do the camel rides and the oasis and things of that sort, and the sand dunes and all of that. But the thing about it is, the majority of the time I've left open free for the people to experience Dubai the way they want to.
And so once you're there, no, let's go back. Are the authors hand selected by you?
Yes, most of them are tribe. I travel with people who know what we're about. They know the genres that we allow to be sold at the events. There's certain genres I don't. And there's authors, when we have a tribe like we have, we're not just writers. When I say family, we're family. This weekend, they have been on 3 health Zooms. I brought in doctors that were speaking to certain health challenges I have, and some of the tribe members have. So I brought in holistic doctors, and they've done Zooms directly, strictly for my tribe. When I say family, I need them to be around. I need to be around. As I learn things, I teach my tribe. And that is, to me, they're my family.
And so the same people travel with you every year. Is that what you're saying? Pretty much.
It's a different group each year.
Okay.
We do allow people outside of the tribe, but I have to see their website. I have to see their books. I want it to be known that if you're buying, most of the people who come to, most of the readers who come from to the cavalcade, they will buy a book from every author. I want them assured that they're not getting junk, that they're not getting something from someone who is not taking it serious and that hasn't had their work edited. The covers look like they did it in their living room. We have a group that looks at everything and scrutinize their social media, their digital footprint, all of those things, because we put in some effort as tribe to make sure that our thing is together. We need other folks rolling with us that got their thing together too.
Now, Brenda Jackson lives here in the state of Florida, right? Love her. So tell me, how is it that you made those connections in order to build your tribe, like someone like Brenda Jackson?
Okay, so let me be, it's 2 things here. Tribe, our national best-selling authors, and some USA and New York Times best-selling authors and debut authors. She is one that supports and comes to events and even contributes to cookbooks that we do, as well as that. So she's not a member of tribe, she's tribe support. So when we do events, she's one of Beverly Jenkins, they are some of the first people, they are the first people that I contact to do events. And for a while, Beverly Jenkins stepped back because she wanted me to put Piper Hughley on the map, you know, to have that space, and Vanessa Riley. So my thing is, I bring in people who it will benefit the cavalcade in the sense that their readers will want to come and they will get to experience my writing tribe. You know, it is not, I'm altruistic to a point, but all this time and effort and energy I'm putting in here, it's for my tribe.
So how does a person who wants to be part of the tribe, who's not a writer, that wants to come to Dubai, how do they get involved?
Oh, it's open to readers.
Okay.
It's open to readers. We have over 90 people. I've had to change travel agencies because of the fact that we've outnumbered what one travel agency can do.
You've outgrown it.
Yeah. So readers are definitely welcome to come. So it's open. It isn't the authors who are going to be there. I think we only have 3 authors outside of tribe. Other than that, This is Tribe, and we're going to also meet with people who live, Americans who live in Dubai. So they'll be able to come to the events as well. We've been in contact. I'm in a group that will, advertise that we're there, and they can come and buy books from authors and actually get to meet them as well.
Is registration for that for readers closed at this point?
I will open it because I wanted to make sure we had the right travel agency. When we went over the number, and even when I talked to the person that owned the agency, and Trip Masters say, no, our number cut off. I don't even know how she let you get over 65.
Oh,
but they
okay.
weren't comfortable doing that number of people. We are way over that count. I will open it up. Yeah, I can open it.
What are the dates?
It is November 11th through the 19th, the 10th through the 19th. And like I said, the majority of the excursions and the author events that, that you definitely don't want to miss will happen the first 3 to 4 days. The rest of the time, you can do whatever. And I have a feeling that most people are going to be at Gold Souk buying the scarves and the pashminas and the spices. Right. But I'm going to prepare them. I'm going to teach everybody how to trade and negotiate. I was killing it over there. And I wish I had brought another suitcase. Oh my God. If I had known. So now you guys are going to get the benefit of what I know. Like my son, he went into the sand dunes in Jeeps. I was in the SUV. That is going to be what I'm going to have everybody in. I want them enclosed and to understand the experience. If you have a heart condition, you can't do the dunes. We're gonna have to take you around. If you, have any of the other thing, back conditions,
asthma,
you don't want to do. Yeah.
Asthma
you can do, but back trouble, heart condition, you don't want to do the dunes. I'm telling you, I don't have either one of them. And I was telling you, I think I became very close to the creator doing that experience. It's like being on a roller coaster with no barriers. It was exhilarating, but it was enough.
Right, exactly. And you're going to do it again though, right? Maybe. And so is it the same time every year, depending, it's not in Dubai every year, but it's the same time every year?
Most times it's in October because that's Chicago's book festival month, and that's where it started. And then we're also going to do it in spring, attached to another major event. I'm just waiting for those dates to come about. We did it virtually twice this year, the spring fling, and then we did the October event. But this time, I think we're going to start doing it twice a year because we do have that kind of following. And, there are people, I still want people to come to Chicago. I still want them to have those late night runs to the places that we do and the food and just overall fun, as well as opening up on a deeper level. And I like Chicago, born, bred, and stuck.
Yeah, you have a good friend on the show tonight who really loves Chicago too. She's here in Florida now, but she still has Chicago in her heart. So give us background.
Hi, Kavita.
Give us background on your ever-growing companies, macro marketing and promotions group.
That is the company that I started because it wasn't just publishing. It was also, publishing is one arm of things, but marketing and promotion is a whole other beast. And I provided both services, the publishing, helping people to become publishers.
Right.
And then I just now this year combined everything under one umbrella. It is the Macro Group LLC. We do everything. We have book coaches, which are tribe members, who better to help with the process of writing your memoir or writing your self-help or your first fiction story than people who have already done this process and can walk you through it and make sure it's something that is a page turner. So all of that under one umbrella, the Macro Group LLC.
And when an author comes to you, what do they have to come with?
Desire.
Not
The
first 10 pages of their book, not.
You can have an empty page. We're going to get words on the page, but you have to have that heart and that desire to want to do, because that's going to carry you through. Your why is going to carry you through. The fact that you know how to write, you were good in school and you wrote good dissertation papers. There are people who write and they don't have heart.
Right.
and the reader can feel
No
that. The reader
substance.
can feel
Yeah.
that they can feel when it comes from here, and your pain is on the page, your passion is on the page, your pleasure is on the page. Readers can feel that. And I need people who come with that. They may not know how to structure a word. They may, instead of being in English class, they may have been outside getting high with the people and skipping school or whatever and didn't do what they were supposed to do. But now they're grown up. They can hire people who can help them put their passion on the page and get their word across and get their message across. It's the why that carries people, because it's not the money. Because if it was about the money, I would have been out of this industry a long time
ago. Exactly. Now, did you get a publishing deal in your first book, or you always have been self-published?
It was the second book.
Okay.
It was the third book, Every Woman Needs a Wife.
Okay.
I was self-published for the first two, and then I gave away 50 free copies of Every Woman Needs a Wife at an event called Book Expo America. And I got a book deal, and then my son also got a book deal from an imprint of Simon & Schuster.
And tell us about that process. How does that work?
I think it's different for every person, but for me, I chose to sign with that imprint. I got offers from other places. I signed with this because they were giving my son a deal too, his own separate deal. And I saw the opportunity to market and promote us together. And it panned out well. 6 months later, he was nominated for NAACP Image Award. And
he's a writer also?
Oh, yes. And he did all the covers that you see behind me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about those. Yeah.
He designs the covers, and amazing. It started his career. He landed a 4-year academic scholarship to FIS because he had a book. And 2 admissions direct. He took 2 books on their college tour, that Black colleges and universities. And he gave the 2 copies to 2 different people, and both of them came back and they impacted his life exponentially. So it wasn't about book sales, it was about book opportunities.
Right. I tell the younger authors, don't be afraid to give your book away. I mean, don't give it all away, but be very specific and strategic about who you give your book to, because you never know how it's going to come back around to help you, right? So being an author of more than 30 novels, how hard is it to develop the book covers? That's when we're going to get to the book covers. So how is it, do you and your son sit down and just tell me about that process? Because it has to be different for each one.
He's the boss. I have a vision sometimes, and sometimes my vision doesn't translate well graphically for what I'm trying to pull across. And there's been times I pull rank and end up having to apologize later because I need to turn it back to what he said in the first place. So I've learned to listen to him. I've learned to listen to him in more than just book covers. I have a curfew, 11 o'clock now. I have to be in bed. And I forgot one night, he put that curfew on because he said I wasn't getting enough rest. I was burning the candle at both ends and lighting a match in the middle. And I forgot one day that I was on curfew, and I sent a message, I think it was 11:06, and I get a text back, go to bed, Mom. So, and he's watching me on cameras in the house, and he says, I see an awful lot of takeout coming in the house and not enough groceries. So he's the parent in this relationship now, I would just say, So when it comes to covers, I actually lean to him now because he knows, he went to school for it. He transferred his major from he wanted to be a teacher at first. And then he decided he wanted to develop his love of creative process and photography, videography, but graphic design, he's beast mode. And I'm not saying it because he's my son. I'm saying it because he is. It
is what it is, right? Exactly.
Yes.
Do you know why he puts your name in the same place on every book?
Branding. If you put my books, most of them, if you put them side by side, it looks like a string. And he does that for most of the authors, most of the tribe. He does that. He creates a brand for them. And it's either almost that same font for the name. Now the titles will change, but the name stays the same.
Because we spoke the other day about authors that we love. And I said, well, tell me the name of the book. And sometimes you can never remember the name of the book. I mean, maybe James Baldwin, Fire Next Time, everybody does that. But for the most part, you'll remember the author's name, but you may not remember the name of the book. And that's why that's so important. Yeah, branding.
Indeed. Branding. It's all about branding.
We have aspiring authors listening this evening and seasoned veterans who could use assistance in developing their writing skills. You have a workshop team that assists in many areas. Give us information on your workshops.
Well, we take people through a challenge, 30-day challenge. And the next one starts January 15th, but there are people who said they couldn't wait for January 15th. We give them 30 days to write their book. That's it.
That's it.
30 days. I give them a writing prompt. We come up with the number of words that they can successfully navigate to write in a day. And between that, there's a little bit more to the process, like what topics are you going to cover, what experiences you're going to put on the page, that sort of thing. But in that, they have 30 days to finish their book. And with that challenge, throughout that process, they have a Facebook group where there's accountability. They have to post every day, whether I handle my business or I'll do better tomorrow, or pray for me. If I see too many pray for me's, that's a phone call. Then every Friday, there is a check-in process. We're on Zoom. We check in to see what's going on. Also in the process, they learn about advanced writing. They learn about publishing and marketing. There are videos that they have to watch. So by the time those 30 days are up, whether they stay with us and try to become tribe or they go their own way, they know more about the experience than most people starting in the industry. I'm in several writers groups on Facebook, and it's amazing how many people have been in these writers groups and are still asking the same questions. How do I get started? How do I do? But wait a minute, how long you been a member of this group? And that's the thing about it is
no shade. Yeah.
My purpose is different. I want people who are knowledgeable, because the more knowledgeable you are, the more it shines a good light on me. It shines a good light on tribe. And I'm weeding out people who can actually, if I work to getting them a book deal. I'm in the process of signing some contracts now. My goal is to get people book deals, but I need to know that you're going to be able to make deadlines. I need you to understand what our formula is. Tribe has a particular standard and formula, and we need you to know what that is for the different genres, so that if you get to a publishing house, you're not flying blind. Or if something happens to me, you don't lose your contract because you've lost your way. Everybody, I'm not training followers, I'm training leaders.
So 30 days is all you have. What happens after?
If you want to take it further and publish, that's different.
Right. Okay.
Half the battle is getting something to publish, getting the book on the page. If you have a concerted effort and you got this in, I have people that come, I've been writing for 12 years. Yeah, and if you don't give yourself an end goal, you're gonna be writing for 12 more. So you've got people and you've got a support system that's cracking that whip, and that's, holding you accountable. But also too, means you're not gonna be left adrift either. But as long as you putting in that accountability every day, posting what you're doing, if you need help, I'm a phone call away or text away. Other tribe members, it's not just me, it's all tribe. There's several tribes who are in the baby groups. We have several tribes. There's Namakir, there's Nakeri, there's also Nama Pro, and each one is at a different speed and level, depending on what they're trying to achieve. And
it's all virtual.
Virtual, and some of us live in more areas, but we'll get together and surprise some people, tribe, and visit them. Like I'm going to Houston, so I'm going to pull up and roll up on some folks. But yes, right now it's virtual, but we would see each other at the cavalcade if we weren't living in such interesting times.
So tell me what's next.
What's next?
What's next?
Tribe has a whole series of the Queens of the Castle coming out, the Pleasure series coming out. Then we also have the Grateful Hearts series coming out. We are constantly moving and growing. What's next is my goal is to get everyone in tribe who has the desire and the skill set. I want them to have a book deal with a major house. So then we can do a different level of marketing promotion together.
Have you ever considered the tribe making one book together?
Oh yeah, we've done that. It was Sugar. When we first started, we were just strictly marketing and promotion. Everybody came from different publishers or different walks of life or whatever. And we started with marketing and promoting together. Then we moved to writing. And so we had an anthology. It was Sugar, Spice, and it was supposed to be 3, Sugar, Spice, and Everything Nice.
Right.
Sugar was, kind of sweet, romance, suspense. Spice was a little bit more hotter. level. And then Everything Nice was supposed to be like Christian fiction inspiration. Well, let me put it to you this way. When people saw how much marketing promotion was going to go into promoting these anthologies, we didn't have Everything Nice. We ended up with Sugar and Spice. And from there, we decided to create a series. I wanted to put love on the page. I kept seeing on Facebook where women have told men no and they were being hurt or harmed or killed, or trying to leave abusive relationships and they were being killed. I needed to see love on the page. So I challenged my tribe. I said, you know what? I want to see what love looks like. I want to create kings of the castle. These are men who are powerful, they're rich, but the women in their lives don't need to dim their light in order for the men to shine.
Right.
And that sparked the Kings of the Castle. And we loved that so much. That felt real good to us. We did the Knights of the Castle.
The castle.
And now, you know, in December, the Queens are coming.
That's wonderful. So at this time, share with the audience how to get in contact with you, any information you would like to share. And of course, at the end of every session on Zoom In, we ask for a pearl of wisdom.
Okay. So I'm on all social media under my pen name, Naleighna Kai, and my website, www.naleighnakai.com. And if you can't remember that, www.nktribeCalledSuccess.com. So social media, follow me on all social media, Facebook, Pinterest, BookBub, Instagram, Twitter, I'm everywhere. And if you go to my website, there's a free book, Sugar Ain't So Sweet, and 2 free cookbooks that are done by the tribe. Okay. We do cookbooks to promote and market ourselves. We have little excerpts of each author in the book that is in that particular series. So we have a cookbook, Fit for a King and Only for One Night. And yeah, we're going to do another one for the inspirational line of books. We did the Mary Hart's inspirational line. It's 9 books every series. Any series I do is always 9 books. And that was powerful. That's where I challenged tribe to put their inner pain. And some of it, I said, no, you may not want to put that on the page. No, it's time for me to heal. So that, the Mary Hart's inspirational series, powerful.
Before you give us a pearl of wisdom, what would you say to the first time author?
That is my pearl of wisdom. Don't die with the book still in you. Do not die with the book still in you. There is a lot of potential best-selling authors and best-selling books in the graveyard because people were afraid to move forward and tell their truth and put their words on the page, and they took it to the grave. A lot of our history is in the grave. A lot of these life lessons are in the grave because people did not take the time to put it on the page. It's not just about the pain, it's about the triumphs. It's about how you made it through something. There's a book inside of you that may have one little kernel of something, 1 sentence, 2 sentences, whatever, that can impact someone else's life. And you're taking that with you because you don't want to put it on the page. Don't die with the book still in you.
Don't die with the book still in you. Miss Naleighna Kai, thank you so much for being with us this evening. And this has been a Fresh Book production. Please join us at the Fresh Book Festival, which is January 6, 7, 8 in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Ms. Kai. Good evening.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Good night,
and thank
everybody.
you for my tribe that is here.
Yeah, hey tribe. Thank you for being here.
I see Shakir and Unique.
Yeah.
I see Pastor Patty.
Tanya.
New
Pastor
tribe
Patty.
member Bridget. Hey, Bridget.
Bridget. Thank you all for being here. Thank you this evening. Good night.